Hello, my name is Stephanie Moberly and this is my introductory video for EDL854. So let's start by looking at my life. So to begin, I am a mom of 5. My oldest is Kale, 10, Haven is 7, Presley 6, Kai is 3, and the baby Collins is 1.5. A little bit more just about my home life and my family. My husband and I have been married for 13 years, almost 14 years here in August. We live in a very rural community. I actually teach at the same school that my husband and I both went to school and grew up in, so I really love that I'm able to do that and have my own children in the same school that I was in. We also are very rarely home. My husband is a farmer, so when we are not at school or in the farm, we are at the racetrack. So my family drag races, and as you can see in the pictures, my oldest two, Kale and Haven, they both drag race, and my husband also drag races. So we spend all of our extra time there doing that. So that's fun. As far as my work history, I am in my 10th year of teaching. I started at a rather large district compared to the one I'm at and spent my first 4 years there before a position became available within the school that I'm at now. I took that opportunity and have been here teaching at my hometown for the past 6 years. Thankfully, this year I've been able to make some changes due to just the COVID situation and the precautions that we have. I am self-contained this year. This is the first year since my first year of teaching that I've actually got to teach all the subjects. So this year I'm self-contained 5th grade and loving it. I was asked to pursue a more of a leadership role actually by my school principal, my building principal right now. She's a family friend. Our families go way back, and I've been working with her for the past couple years, and she asked me to look at this. I'd already gotten my master's degree in curriculum and education, not really wanting to be a principal, I thought. So when she asked me to do this, it really got me thinking. So we are trying it out to see how it goes. So as far as Module 1 and resources provided, I was looking through these, and these are the 10 things that really stood out to me that I noticed throughout those resources. Is the site-based model is becoming more common within school districts. Again, as I stated just a second ago, I'm in a very small school district. We have just 2 buildings within our entire school district, the high school, middle school, and then my building, which is the elementary school. So my building principal, and the high school building principal also doubles as a superintendent. So they have a lot of say as far as when it comes to school budget and making decisions. Principals must be comfortable to be in a business-like role and be prepared to manage people and funding adequately. I think a lot of times when people think about a principal, they definitely see the managing aspect as far as the people, but not really think about the financial aspect of it. At least I have it myself. One responsibility of the principal is to prepare the school budget. I think this is probably one of the most important responsibilities of a building principal, just because there's so much at stake. Most schools employ professional accountants to account for school revenue and how it's spent. However, principals do some aspects of record keeping themselves. I think that's good to not just hand it all over, to kind of keep an eye on things. Principals should stay well informed on terms and conditions by the Department of Education and follow guidelines regarding teacher salaries. This section or this article that I read was definitely very informative for me. This is not something that I thought about as far as a responsibility for a principal, definitely a hiring of staff. But as far as salaries and then keeping a teacher like file, a personnel file, was not really something that I thought about. I really hope to look more into those conditions and those terms that the Department of Education puts in place. Many principals lack basic knowledge of bookkeeping despite their financial management responsibilities. I wholeheartedly believe this. I feel like if I were to get into a principal role, this would be my biggest downfall, is my lack of financial background. School principals must understand the financial limitations and flexibility of school and regularly approve and revise the school budget. So a school budget is not something that you set at the beginning of the year and you never look at all year. It's definitely got to be in the forefront of your mind and be constantly thinking and looking at that. You must also understand the financial reports, such as the income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow statement. I think just with more experience in the financial aspect of it, that will come. But it's definitely something that I would want to be proficient in if I were to take a leadership role like this. About 92% of school funding comes from local and state dollars, leaving very little not allocated. I think that leads into my 10th item as to why school districts must allocate funds for building principals to disperse as they see fit. I think building principals are in with the children and with the students daily. They know their student needs for their school population and are the most qualified to provide the needed resources to teachers to educate those students. So while I was reading through these and going through the 10 things that really stood out to me, I was thinking about some things that I haven't seen. Being that I never really wanted to get into administration to begin with, I haven't really looked into a school budget. I've not looked at what my building principal had prepared for the school budget and really analyzed that, so that's something that I would like to do. Also, as I stated, I have a very small school district, so the whole idea of the principal not having input is completely abstract to me. Our principal, our superintendent have so much say in ours, so them not having control over that is something that I would definitely not want to be involved in. And then, as I talked about just a second ago, also about the individual teacher files, that's another like a bookkeeping thing that I don't think people really think about. So I'd want to look into the regulations and the requirements for that to make sure that we are following all those. Some concerns that I have as going forward, if I were to be put into a leadership role as like a building principal, would be first preparing for the unexpected. COVID has come and it's kind of definitely, I feel like, caught all educators off guard. We've talked about that a lot this year within my school building, that we are preparing for everything for next year. We do not like feeling unprepared. So we're trying to think of all possible outcomes. And a lot of that is looking at what we have allotted to us budget-wise to purchase additional resources and to purchase the needed things to make sure our students can receive their education wherever they may be. Also, not having enough funding to go around. Everybody can't get what they want all the time. So the whole decision making on who gets what they need or what programs might get cut, that is a concern for mine as to how I would make those decisions. Staying current with regulations. They are constantly changing. I feel like a principal is much like teachers. Things are constantly changing and you have to constantly be on your toes to making sure that you're staying current with those regulations. I would need to make a personal goal to make sure that I'm not getting behind on those things. And then my major downfall would be my lack of financial background. I have been a school teacher and only a school teacher in my adult life. So my financial background goes back to filing my taxes every year and balancing my checkbook. So I would definitely need to have some more schooling on that to be able to make responsible decisions, I feel like. So this last slide are the references that I use throughout my presentation. Thank you for listening.